Hi, welcome to Portland Film Beat. My name is Dave Poland, and my guest tonight is Rachael Perrell Fosket. She's an award-winning actress. You can be found on the big screen in such films as Death on a Rock, How the Fire Fell, Welcoming Departure. You can also catch her in television dramas as Grimm and The Department of Travel. She's appeared in like 9 feature films, 4 short films, 2 episodes of Grimm, which we're going to talk about, and The Department of Travel. Let's get started. Rachael, well, thank you for being here first.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, it's awesome. Tell us about winning a 2015 Best Female Role at the Philadelphia Independent Film Festival.
That was really cool. We didn't get to go to that film festival, but I think a couple days before the festival, before they announced their winners, there was a nice little article that the paper wrote about us, and that was really nice. And then just to be able to get to win and be recognized for that, that was really cool.
I bet. You also won the LA Indie Film Festival for your role in Death on a Rock.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
You went to that one, though, didn't you?
Yes, we went to that one, but we didn't expect to win anything. We didn't know that we were up for any awards, and we just went because we're hoping to make a comedy next year. And the film festival, LA Film Festival, also has a comedy film festival. So we actually just were going to meet and greet, kind of, to
And then you ended up winning a prize?
Yeah, and then we were at the
God.
award ceremony. We were
Did you get
drinking
up on
our
the stage?
champagne. Yes, I did. I did the worst thank you speech. I just kind of awkwardly.
Because you weren't ready for it.
I wasn't ready, and I went up on the stage and I was like, "Thank you," and I just kind of walked off the stage.
you didn't bask in the light, huh?
No, I was surprised. It was really cool.
Right, but you have a little bit of a. It's great because you do this acting, but I've seen you and I've known you, and you have a little bit of a timid side once in a while.
Yes.
And so how do you overcome that with acting then?
Well, acting is different because you can prepare for a role and the lines are given to you, and that's more of an art and a technique, and then being yourself with people in general is something completely different that I'm not usually very good at.
Okay, so the lesson from LA is prepare a speech.
Prepare a speech, sure. Yes. My acting coach, Scott Rogers, told me always prepare a speech.
Okay, good. Can you tell us the premise of Death on a Rock?
Yeah, Death on a Rock is, it's about the day in the life of Lillian, who I played. And it talks as she's driving to the ocean, or maybe she isn't, and it's kind of left up to you to decide.
Okay. We'll actually see a little bit of that in your trailer.
Yeah, yeah.
That's good. Mm-hmm.
It talks, there's a series of flashbacks, and it kind of shows the previous year and how she kind of got to that point in her life and what's actually happening.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's kind of a sad story in a way, isn't it?
It's very sad.
Okay.
And it was directed by and written by Scott Ballard.
Right, but you've worked with Scott before.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, we both have.
Yeah, we actually met on a film set.
Yeah,
How the Fire Fell.
Yeah, How the Fire Fell. Edward Davies.
Edward Pack Davey, yeah, he did a great job on that. So how did you prepare for the role? I mean, because it's actually kind of a sad story. We'll see in your trailer you've done lots of different roles, but this one was interesting.
That one is an interesting one to prepare for because when I do films with Scott, a lot of it starts with him and I just sitting down and talking about story, and him coming up with ideas. And the last 3 films that Scott did were kind of about mortality and death. There was a trilogy.
And he doesn't have a morbid side to him.
No, he's a very nice, happy person. So it was our conversations about that, and then he wrote his own stories and his own ideas about people dying, and then took his stories and gave them to me to interpret.
Oh, well, that's good. So you interpret. Yeah, that's great because you bring what you get out of it to the film, which I think an actor should. Mm-hmm. I think that directors have a vision, but then they see the actor do it and they go, "Oh, you know what? That's the way I want it. It's not what I saw, but it's the way I want it."
Or not.
Or not. It could be true.
Yeah.
But Scott's you're going to be doing a comedy with him next year, is that right?
We're going to try him and Jordan Eusebio, who was producer of Death on a Rock, are in the stages of writing, and creating a film called Friday Afternoon in the Universe.
Okay, so are they writing a part in it for you already?
They did, yes.
Isn't that cool?
Yeah, it's fun. I'm
Knowing
excited
that you
to
already
do.
got a role in a
Yeah.
film before it's even done being written.
Yeah,
That's
no,
always exciting.
it's great
So
to
what
work with
first
them.
got you interested in acting?
Probably my dad. I think he started giving suggestions whenever I would, put a hat on or like a funny hat. And he would say, "Oh, you look like Audrey Hepburn," or, and I would do
You do
some-
kind of.
Yeah. And so, he kind of gave me the bug by,
Your dad's very supportive of you, though, isn't
Oh, yeah. Both my mom and my dad are very, very supportive.
he? Right, okay. Did you study acting at all in college?
Mm-hmm.
Because you went to George Fox, right?
Yeah, I studied a little bit at George Fox. It wasn't my major, but I studied scene study and improv. And then when I moved to Portland, I studied with Shelley Lipkin. I did scene study with him. And I studied a little bit with Jana Hamblin.
Jana Lee Hamblin. Mhm.
Yeah, and then for the past 2+ years, I've been working with Scott Rogers.
Right, Scott was here.
Yes,
He's a
I know.
great
I
guy.
saw that. That was a good interview.
How old were you when you got interested? Or was it because when you were a little kid, your dad was encouraging you? Okay, how old were you when you first got your first role?
How the Fire Fell?
Was that it?
Mm-hmm.
You did a great job in that.
Yeah, they found me. So yeah, I was in my early 20s.
And you've been on twice on two different characters on Grimm. Okay, they never repeat actors on shows. How did you get away with that?
Actually, so Grimm is in it at the time that I got called back to be able to do a second bit. This is to Scott Rogers' credit. He does industry talk for the first half hour of his classes every night.
Okay.
And during one of the industry talks, we found out that Cast Iron was actually letting people who had speaking parts come back to audition again. They were starting to recycle their characters,
Right.
or not characters, but talent. And so I went to Meals on Monologues. I prepared a monologue with Scott, and we worked on that. And then I went to Meals for Monologues at Cast Iron, and I saw you there.
Yeah.
And after that, Lana called me in a few more times. And then she's called me in to play a prostitute.
Okay, well, we're going to talk about that.
Yeah.
We're going to bring up that image right now, and we're going to look at it. And so tell us about this girl here.
That is Heidi McDonough.
Yeah.
She is a very classy hooker. She's not she's very well put together for a hooker, and she played an interesting part in the 4th season of Grimm. She was.
Was this your second time on?
This is my second time.
Okay.
She was her best friend had just been murdered, and she got to be interrogated by Nick.
Okay. And so how long were you in the did you have your own trailer?
Yes.
Really?
Yes. Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about your experience on Grimm.
It was great. It feels really lucky to have a show like Grimm in Portland, because you get the impression that like network television shows, everybody's kind of mean, and that the actors are all kind of like hi, like don't look at them in the eyes kind of a thing, and the crew and the cast of Grimm, everybody's really, really nice, and
Right.
The crew.
So did you
happy to be
rehearse
there.
a bunch with
Nope.
David?
No. No, you get to set and you know your lines.
Right. Okay.
Yeah,
It's
pretty
pretty.
much.
It's pretty hurried up too, isn't
It's
it?
really, really fast. Yeah, it's very, very fast.
Okay. So your first time on Grimm, how many days were you on set for that?
First time I was on set for, I think, a week.
Really?
I think 5 days, yeah.
Right. And so your second time?
Second time was only 3 days, but the second time was much more fun.
All right. Let's take a look at the second image here.
Okay.
And
When I vogued,
is that what they call it? What do you
I
call it?
think voguing.
All
I
right.
think. Yeah.
How long were you in the chair to get that makeup done?
That's CGI.
Is that right?
Yeah. So they brought me into a room and they had me. They took like 1 billion pictures of me doing all these things with my hands in different positions, and then they just took all my little movements.
Were you in front of a green screen or something, or just plain screen?
No, they would put little dots on my face.
Okay, well, we've seen things like that. I've never experienced it, so it must have been awesome.
It was really fun. The best part was not the CGI. It was actually Christina Cordum and Mike Smithson who do the special effects.
Right.
They're awesome.
Well, let's look at this third image, okay? You ready?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
All right.
Them.
Things did not turn out too well for you.
Which is probably the best thing on Grimm is to get, you know, gored by Sacha Roas.
Is that
amazing.
right?
Yeah.
How long did it take him to set you up to look this all gored up and stuff? Was that Christine who did that?
Her and Mike. Mike's done everything. He's like done every single major actor. Like he's done makeup for Big Fish, you know, Ghostbusters. Like he's great, and he's so totally unassuming.
Right.
But yeah, it took them about 45 minutes.
Really?
Just to do everything.
It seems like it would take a lot longer than that.
It, well, they did a cast a couple days before I came on set, and then once they sent that to LA, and then when they brought it back, they just had to put blood on it, and it was good.
So you didn't rehearse?
You know,
Did you run lines with the other actors or anything like that?
No, you just have to be ready. I worked with Scott Rogers beforehand, and we worked on a scene like that. But
was it a co-star or a guest star role?
It was a co-star.
Okay, that's good though. You got two co-stars.
I know. I almost feel like it could have been a guest star.
Oh really?
Yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah, you could stretch it out. Give me a couple more lines, babe.
Yeah.
Let me get that guest star pay.
Yeah, it was fun, and it was really fun. The director was Terrence O'Hara, and he was tough. Like I would never ever mess with him, but because of that, you know, we got done.
I've heard that, you know, a lot of these TV show directors, because everything's quick and stuff.
Super quick.
It's like, get here, be ready, let's go, and here's what I want, and that's it. Let's do it.
Yeah, and if they can get that out of the crew, which he could, which was pretty cool, we would get extra things to do. Like he would, the scene where I'm walking by myself and I like fix my makeup. It was a really beautiful scene, and you know, he's like, we have extra time, we can do this, let's do it.
Okay, a little insert type stuff, right?
Yeah.
Tell us about your first audition. Would that be for How the Fire Fell?
Yeah.
With Edward Pack Davey? Okay, down at the Hollywood Theater.
Yep. Yes. So yeah, you would audition for that.
I auditioned for that too.
Yeah, it was my first audition. I just found a book of monologues at Powell's, and I think I didn't know what How the Fire Fell was about at all, and even the description of it was kind of weird.
Yeah,
so
well, because Edward Pack Davey writes some weird things sometimes.
I know. Oh, we love you, Ted.
It's great. No, it's great. It's okay. There's nothing wrong with it.
Oh no, he's brilliant.
There's nothing. Quirkiness in film is awesome sometimes.
Oh yeah. But so I met Ted and I met Tony, and
I remember Tony. Altamiro, is that his name? Something like that?
Yeah, Tony's the best also. And I think I did some monologue of like an old homeless lady, and they're like, yes. And that was my first. It was weird. I was really shaky. I think I shook the whole time. And I think that's why I chose the homeless lady, because I knew I would be shaky.
It fit, right?
Yeah, it worked.
Okay, what we're going to do right now is we're going to take a couple of minutes and we're going to watch Rachael's reel, and we'll be right back.
Sweet. Really beautiful.
Sounds nice.
What? I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, you do. Was Marianne a vessel too?
She's the book's about. I don't care. It's not mine, so name it whatever you want. Wild cost extra.
You're more than worth it, love. Now, my friends call me Jack.
I could be your friend.
Well, I'd like that. ID.
Do I know you?
That was fun.
Okay.
Okay, after watching that, tell us, what was your favorite character that you played? Because there's a whole lot in there. That's a great sizzle reel because it's, you know, it's right time.
I think it's hard to say like what my favorite character is.
After 9, was it 9 features?
Yeah, yeah.
That's a lot.
That's
Wow.
a lot of, yeah, that's a lot of things.
And you've done that in 6 years.
Yes.
9, well, that's good.
Yeah.
You're on par with some of the A-list actors.
Yay!
You know, most A-list actors only do a film every 18 months, except for like the, you know, really popular ones.
That sounds.
So you're
I'm right
doing
on
better
there.
than some of them,
That's
right?
good. Yeah. I think I loved Lillian from Death on a Rock because, you know, I love working with Scott. I love working on his characters with him. I love his cast.
But
and
you were
crew.
Emily, and
I love working with Ryan Graves.
Isn't he
and
a
you
great guy?
Oh my gosh, he's amazing. He's one of my best friends. And he's a brilliant writer too. His ability to write story.
yeah,
and
he just did a
conversation.
workshop or something down for
Oh yeah, for the kids.
Atlanta
Yeah.
writers.
Yeah. Which is great because I think people should probably listen to the way that he does conversation in his pieces. It's really good.
Okay.
So those two characters, and then I'm sorry, when I auditioned for Heidi the Hooker, I was wearing this plaid. Like I'm not somebody that dresses up in heels, and to be able to play a character that
but
could
you know what,
confident.
you know, you look
I
really
know.
good in that, and I've known you for a long time, and I was like, holy cow.
And it was really fun to play that, to be able to be somebody who could walk around very confidently in 5-inch heels. That's something that I could never do as Rachel, and it was really fun to be able to be Heidi.
Is
for
that right?
reason. Yeah.
You know, there's an actress down in L.A. who was known as the independent film queen, and she did a movie called Winter's Bone in 2010 and ended up being nominated for an Oscar, and she's gone on from that. Her name is Jennifer Lawrence, and to me, with 9 films and some of the work that you've done, I see you kind of on the same track. I actually hope so, you know, and I hope you keep going with it.
Thank
And you got a
you.
comedy coming up and everything else, so
Yay.
you're doing all kinds of work. So
Thank you,
how
thank
do you
you.
prepare for these different roles? I mean, there's the one picture where you're pregnant, and then there's the How the Fire Fell, where you kind of
Crazy.
you were crazy, yeah, and then Grimm, and
Okay.
Death on a Rock, which is very
Dying.
sad. So
Dying girl.
how do you prepare for all these different roles?
I mean, it's changed since, you know, I'm working much more on technique right now, so
And Scott Rogers is probably very helpful. In that.
yeah, he's really helpful. But I think right now I would prepare for roles is reading the script and then trying to figure out what my character wants and trying to figure out how she would go about doing and getting what she wants.
Okay.
And then, you know, there's all those little tidbits that help once you're on set, like 5-inch heels or, you know, a pregnant suit or, you know.
You looked really pregnant in that.
I know, it was great. It was really great because I was the first person on set every day. And so they would put me in my pregnant outfit first before anybody else got there. And like all the Teamsters and everybody thought I was really pregnant. Like I would like,
Oh, really?
I was trying to, the whole time I was really scared that I wouldn't look pregnant. So I would just like waddle all the time and try to pretend that I was pregnant, like through lunch.
You should.
Yeah.
Keeps you in character. That's great.
And I shocked people my last day on the set. Everybody was like, "Oh, I thought you were really pregnant."
Isn't that funny?
Yeah, it was
Okay.
cute.
Have you ever done any bad acting?
Yes, I do bad acting a lot.
We all do.
Yeah.
The audience only gets to see the good.
Sometimes they get to see the bad.
Unfortunately.
No, or fortunately, it's nice. It's I think I really appreciate. It's the kind of sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. But I do appreciate when I realize that I'm doing bad acting or I'm failing at acting. The story that I think that I have is.
You have a funny story
yes,
for us?
I have it's not that funny, but
We might be laughing.
the most recent story of failing is in class with Scott Rogers. I was trying to do a comedy piece. It was some Shakespearean. It was Midsummer Night's Dream. And I was trying. I did the monologue, and I rehearsed it. I thought I did really good. And afterwards, I was expecting people to laugh. I was expecting all this stuff, and it was just stone quiet. And
You're probably what? And heck?
yeah, and the only person that laughed was Scott afterwards, and he's like, "Congratulations, you turned a comedy into a tragedy."
Oh, is that right? So he was laughing.
Yeah, he thought it was great. He's a Shakespeare buff, but He loves it. But it was good that, you know, you have to fail. And, you know,
Every time you fail, it gets better for you.
it does. And you know, he critiqued me and we worked on it. And the next time I did that scene, everybody laughed. So
It worked.
like, it worked.
But see, failing in class is awesome, especially when you can fail and not be judged for it.
Yeah.
And
No, especially having
and we
a
were
tight
talking,
group
that's
like
kind of a
that,
pet peeve that you have,
Oh,
of
yeah.
somebody making fun of actors. It's kind of because you're vulnerable. You're putting yourself out there.
Yeah, it's not. It's actors and it's directors and the people that, you know, the screenwriters, the editors, everybody.
Has
If
to
there's
be
any,
respectful.
yeah, you have to be respectful. And I don't honestly, like, once somebody is being disrespectful on set, I like quietly to myself be like, I'm not working with you.
Yeah, and you
That's
should.
okay. I mean, yeah.
And you have a great agent, don't you? Can you tell us about
Justin.
it?
Justin with Q6, he's great.
He's real helpful to you, isn't he?
He is, yeah.
He's got your back because he takes care of business.
He's
for
great.
you.
He always has time to talk to me, even though I know that he's super busy. He's a dad. He has, you know, a ton of talent. Asking, you know, him for help, and he always has time for you. At the same time, he does not have any patience for anybody that messes with you.
Oh, is that
which
right?
is so great to hear.
So he'll get on him about it.
Oh yeah, yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
Do you ever feel like giving up?
Yes.
Do
yes.
you?
Usually.
Even after doing 9 features in 6 years.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. I mean, you're in Portland, so you only get an audition and I'm SAG, so I only really get an audition when, you know, the seasons have started, and then when there's no
It's so dry.
networks, it's really dry.
You know, it's a dust bowl.
And it's really hard to convince, you know, the ultra low budgets to be ultra low budgets films, or even short films. Like, you know, you don't have to pay any money to be a union short film.
You know, you don't.
And
if they fill out the paperwork, it helps everybody a lot. It really does. I'm SAG, and I've been to a lot of those meetings, and let me tell you, I've like getting paid, but I also really like being on set and being in front of the camera. And,
I know.
You know, it's great when they do the paperwork.
Yeah.
It helps everyone. So do you ever do anything else besides acting? I mean, do you do a boom or
I wish.
anything like that?
No, I just quietly admire them from the set.
right?
I love them. I always have.
The crew is very helpful, aren't they? How could you get they don't get enough credit, I don't think.
No, I hate it. I kind of hate it when people like, when they're accepting something and like, I just like to thank the cast and the crew. I always feel like you should thank the crew first. Because you know,
they're always there first.
They're
and
there
gone.
first.
Yeah.
They're there last. They, you know, they have to. There's
They do
so
a lot
much
of work.
stress. They're the ones that get yelled at by everybody, you know, and they're the ones that make you look good and sound good.
So what's your favorite part of filmmaking then? In front of the camera, I know that, but
What's my favorite part of filmmaking?
I don't know.
Like my favorite, like what I like to do with
Yeah.
filmmaking. I don't know.
being in front of the camera. Do you
yeah,
ever
being
do
in
any
front of the
writing of your own?
Oh yeah, I do writing. I think that everybody should be writing.
Right. Okay. What's your favorite film?
It's silly.
That's okay.
Okay, it's Tu Wong Fu, Thanks for Everything, Julie Newmar. Do you
Oh,
know that
really?
film?
Yeah, I do. It's really old though.
That was, I think, you know, when I first watched that, Patrick Swayze.
Okay.
Like, I love actors who can take a film and a completely ridiculous role and make it something so, you know, so charming and so, like, you're rooting for them by the end of it.
Right.
And that film.
So
totally.
what kind of inspiration did you draw from that film or other films like it? Because does it give you the permission as an actor to be a little out there?
Yeah, I think that the best actors are the actors that are 100% committed to the imaginary circumstances. And
Just going for
the
it.
most ridiculous.
Not judging your character.
Like Tombstone and Val Kilmer. Like, you're like, this is a weird film. And he's like, I'm going to make it awesome. So.
Right. Is there a common type of film genre that you relate to more?
Yeah, I love, it's like the one thing that I have such a hard time with. It's always comedy. And it's always like,
Well, I'm glad you get to do a comedy.
I know. Me too. We'll see. I love comedy. When I was, I think, 5, I remember like one of my earliest memories was watching Monty Python and the Holy Grail, and just like that was like my first like this is what film is. And then when I was,
But they're so absurd.
I know, but that was where this is amazing as a 5-year-old being like I don't understand any of this, but and then
Probably a good thing too.
yeah, and then when I was 8, the first film that I ever went to at the movie theater was Mel Brooks' Robin Hood Men in Tights. And me and my brother, we saw it and we were just like, oh, this is what comedy is. Like, this is funny. And it was, you know, those two films put together made it.
So is there a director that you would like to work with? I know there's a lot in Portland, A-list.
Oh, A-list? I was going to say Scott Ballard and Ted Davey.
Okay.
Ryan Graves. An A-list director.
It's okay, we'll come back to that question. Who is your favorite A-list actor? And why? And what draws you to them as an actor? What about actress?
Well, Cate Blanchett. But
Right.
I think not Tom Hardy.
Oh my gosh, he's so diverse. He does
He
great
is
accents
great.
and everything.
Oh, but then before Tom Hardy, probably Gary Oldman.
Really?
Gary Oldman is probably king.
Because he can do some weird characters too.
And that's the example is he will anything. Even if
doesn't
he has like
judge him.
5 minutes in a movie, he'll be like, okay, I'm gonna make this count, and True Romance or something like that.
Yeah.
And he's 100% committed and will go off the deep end. But can like for anything, like he'll be like the romantic lead or the crazy psycho or.
So if you could work with, would you like to work with them?
Oh yeah,
I would be Gary
yeah.
Oldman.
Yeah, that would be really cool. Yeah, I would love that.
What about Cate Blanchett? You'd like to work with her?
Yeah, and I think that she's kind of like a Gary Oldman in the sense that she again is 100% committed to the imaginary circumstances, and she does that with technique. But she just, I don't think she's gotten as many chances as Gary Oldman has.
Okay, so we got like 15 seconds left.
Okay.
Where do you want to see yourself in 5 years?
Guest starring.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I would
Guest
love.
starring? What
Guest-
about it?
well,
What about a
realistically,
series regular?
Yes, I would definitely would
Then
love
go
to
shoot
be.
for the stars,
shoot
honey.
yeah. Realistically, guest starring. Idealistically, you know, being in, you know, indie films or being in.
You could go the route of Jennifer.
Lawrence.
Yeah.
That'd be cool. I'd have to get comedy down.
That would be great. We're running out of time here at Portland Film Beat. I want to thank you for tuning in. I want to thank my director, Ellery Nelson. I want to thank the people down here at TVC TV for helping out. I also want to thank the people down at PCM TV for all the help that they give us. Until next time on Portland Film Beat, shoot for the silver screen.
Thanks.